just put a step ladder. 40 years ago, I was invited by Mrs. Josie to passion to Bible study for couples at the Good Samaritan United Methodist Church in Quezon City. Being a solo parent at the time, to 3 young daughters, I didn't have the time, so I refused the invitation. But the lady did not accept no for an answer. So, one Sunday after service, I found myself entering a packed room. Everyone seemed to know each other. Some came around to say hi to me. Then came an older lady. She wanted to give me a hug, but I extended my hand. Getting with you, she shook my hand and introduced herself. She said, "I'm Josie, madam." She offered me a seat close to her, and I took it out of respect. Then somebody stood up and introduced himself as Big Madam. I noticed that his smile was from ear to ear, and he seemed to be fatherly and kind. He will be leading the Bible study. So I figured, Josie and Big Madam, they're a couple. I look at my seatmate, and she nodded, confirmed, they're a couple. Then we were requested to introduce ourselves. So I prepared a generic introduction. I'm new to the group, so I just said a few things about myself. But I noticed Josie Mandela was different. I noticed she said, "Thank you for little things." She's quiet but have a lovely smile. But she made sure I said yes to the next meeting, and to the next meeting, and to the next meeting. When our big group became smaller and smaller, we decided to meet in different homes. But our home base was the Manila residence at Frisco. One week, Manang and Josie showed genuine interest in ministering to the spiritual needs of the Solidarity family. That's how we call our group, Solidarity family. Our problems, our concerns, our worries, and everything in between became theirs. So did our joys, and everything in between too. Their bedroom in Frisco became the refuge of 10 kids, ages 5 to 12. Their Auntie Janice was the supplier of chocolates, pistachios, ice cream, and everything in between too. So the kids have a lovely time going to the Mandela residence. Every Bible studies, no one made an absent. A lifelong friendship was formed. We came to know their children, from Vincent down to Jane. And when the first granddaughter arrived, Manang Josie was so proud to display her photos for all of us to see. And I'm like, is this what a Lola does? You know, in her Bible, you will see her photos. And every time you see her, she'll say, "Oh, si Dia to, si Dia." Manang Josie was so proud to display every photo, every pictures of her family. She's so proud of them. Family is very important to her. Her devotion and love to Manang was beyond words. On a personal note, Manang Josie and Manang became my prayer partners. If I needed them, which was constant at the time, they would meet me at Goodsa before they go to Marikina. At that time, Manang was already a pastor. When my family moved to the United States, Tess would call me up and said, "Dito na sila mami sa si Daddy." Yun na yun. May reunion na kami. Finally, when the time came, and we needed a pastor for Light of the World Church. I spoke to Manny. But he said, I retired na ako eh. And I challenged him. Is there a retirement in the ministry? All of a sudden, I saw him coming Sunday after Sunday. But there was a time when he needed to pass the baton. And he passed it on to his eldest boy, Vincent. So Pastor Vic and Pastor Vincent became my pastor at the Light of the World because they were Christian church. We are grateful for their many years of services. I find it very difficult to refer to Manubik one of Josie in the pastors. Because they were always there. Little did they realize the impact of that they made in my life. Manong Vic called me anak. Manong Josie called me Bebe. You see, I was their first spiritual adopted daughter. And I hold the title of being the longest that they have loved for years. But I got a text from Boyan that Sunday morning about the passing of Aunt Josie. My first instinct was to be with the family because they're my family too. Video clips of what tears flooded my mind. My kind, loving, compassionate friend and prayer warrior partner was still soft to my touch, and her face looked so peaceful. It might sound so. It might sound selfish, but I'm gonna miss her. I remember the one and only dream she had. One Sunday while we were working to church, she said, "Napanigiban ko si Imano mo. Bumili daw siya ng carpet, binigay sa akin. Ang ganda-ganda daw." Translation, parang just had a dream that one week got her a carpet. And the carpet was so soft to her touch, and it was a beautiful one. After that, she would end by giving a deep sigh, and she would say, "I wish to be with him soon." I get the tears to my heart. That's something of the way for me. I look at the window of our car. And in a second of a time, I thought I saw one of Josie riding on the carpet and being carried into the arms of Jesus.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I'm Eulogies' daughter. And I'm going to give a few stuff about my role today. I've practiced this. I have not gotten through it without crying, and I'm already crying now, so this is going to be fun. If you don't know me, that's totally fine. I haven't lived in Southern California for 10 years now. What's it called? But throughout my life, Lola and the Viva Life Lola, we make it to a lot of my life events. And for me, that meant a lot of graduations. Lola was there for my middle school graduation, my high school graduation, my undergrad graduation, and then the one I want to talk about now is my grad school graduation. It was in DC, so not everyone came. It was my parents, the Janice, Lola, my Tita, Lulu, and then my sister Gia for like 12 hours. So thank you again, Gia, for that. And I remember just being really excited to show them all the different places I loved in DC. So the different museums, the different places on the National Mall, and of course restaurants. And I just remember us going to this one place called Clyde's. We went there because I really liked the good happy hour deal. We got oysters. We liked it so much we went again. And Lola was closing down those oysters, so I knew we were really related then. It was also on that trip when I realized how much Lola really loved having her nails done. And even today she has her nails done, so earlier today I put on press-on nails in honor of Lola. And even when her dementia got worse, I would always ask to see her nails because they were always done. And she was always so proud of them. And like I said, I haven't lived in Southern California for a long time, and so whenever I come back, I'm sorry. I would be worried that she would forget me. You know? That's like a family dementia does. But every time I would ask her, Lola, do you know who I am? She would say, you're Gil and Kid's daughter. That's why I introduced myself like that, because that's what Lola would say. But the thing is I have 4 younger siblings, so I was always worried she would forget that I was Katrina. It would make sense if she called me Gia, PJ, Andrew, or Joshua. But she always knew who I was. Like, she always said, you're Katrina. And then we would sit on the sofa and watch the news. I watched a lot of news with Lola. She didn't want to watch anything else. I'd ask if we'd want to watch Great British Bake Off or something else on Netflix. And she'd say, no, I just want to watch the news. So I learned a lot about Filipino and world politics with Lola. And then a couple weeks ago, my dad texted in the group chat that Lola wasn't doing well. And I was at work. It was a Friday. And originally I was planning on driving down that Saturday. And I thought, oh, I'll see Lola again, like at Christmas, like it'll be fine. But something was telling me I had to drive down. So I left work early. I packed up my stuff really badly, and then I drove down 8 hours from SF to Montana. By the time I got there, Lola was sleeping. And like I just missed the joy of Papoya, and I ended up sleeping over that night because, again, it was an 8-hour drive. And the next morning, I got up and I left. Or I got up to leave, but Lola was awake, so me and Jana said, hey, you should go in.